If there was one thing that you take from this episode today, I hope it's this. A relationship that is full of authenticity and honesty is a relationship that is likely going to be filled with conflict. But if that relationship knows how to repair well, that will be an incredibly successful relationship. On the flip side, if a relationship is void of conflict, if you don't fight with each other, then it is very likely that your relationship is dishonest and inauthentic, and that relationship is very unlikely to succeed. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Relational Atlas podcast. My name is Coach Atlas, and I am here today to talk about how to fight better. Not how to stop fighting forever, not how to argue never, how to actually do so in productive ways. Now, you're going to hear me use that word a lot, productive, because I think it's a really helpful substitute for the words good, bad, right, wrong. I think that productive or unproductive are terms that are less emotionally loaded, and so they actually produce a different result, right? If I know that I just did something that's unproductive for what I wanted, then I know that the simple shift is to find something that's more productive, right? When I think about me being unproductive with my time, well, I'm not doing a bad thing and I'm not doing the wrong thing. I know that the way I feel right now is not the way I want to feel. And so what I'm doing is unproductive to the feeling I desire. So why don't I do something that's more productive to the way I want to feel, right? And for generic scenario, I'm sitting on my couch, unproductive to feeling energized. I want to feel energized. The more productive approach would be to get up and go for a walk or get up and go to the gym to ramp up my energy levels. So productive and unproductive is the way we're going to start phrasing our approaches to conflict and maybe even our approaches to life, dependent on the result that we want. So, how to fight better. In order to understand how to fight better, there needs to be a layer of understanding why we're fighting in the first place. Now, this may not be something you're getting to quickly during your conflict with your partner, or it may not be something that's happening at all because you're not fighting or you're not arguing. There's no conflict right now. So, why do we fight? In a lot of different ways, it's because of a perception of a threat. There is something happening in this experience that I'm scared of, or I've perceived either a real or illusionary threat. So for those that are maybe more higher on the codependency scale, like I have been in my past, that can actually be something as simple as a facial expression change. My system responded to her nonverbal cue or nonverbal shift, and now it perceived a threat from there. Now that is obviously the higher scale, like I said, of codependency, but there is likely that I'm going to lean into now things like, hey, is everything okay? Are we all good? Are you sure we're all good? Are you sure there's nothing on your mind? And their other partner might be going through something completely separate from me, but my perception of a threat has overridden my system. So now I'm on alert and looking for proof that something might be wrong that I can solve so I can bring us back to an equilibrium or bring us back to harmony. Now, the irony is that that's an unproductive approach, but it's a historical one that I know really well, right? So my history says I'm actually going after a result in an unproductive way because my desire isn't to cause conflict or create separateness, but my actions are creating that. They're producing a different result that I don't want, or they're unproductive. So how do I shift that, right? So a perception of a threat is generally a louder influence on a fight or an argument. Another one would be a common one, which is a fear of rejection, right? Or a fear of abandonment, fear of being misunderstood, a fear of not being seen or cared for, a fear of not being included, a fear of not being loved. A lot of perception of threat comes in there. And a lot of times that can be the baseline. And how we know so is when we notice that time has passed and an experience has been had and we don't really know what just happened. We may have blacked out or we may have been overridden by our nervous system and we weren't able to be cognitive or present for what just happened, right? Because if we were, well, we're smart adults, right? We know what we're doing, right? And so we would have chosen a different way, but we didn't in that moment. So it's less about trying to never have that experience again, and it's more about returning back to your conscious present self so that you can actually create a productive result. A couple other reasons why we fight would be a battle between closeness and separateness. Meaning, let's say I want to be close right now. I'm feeling a desire to hold hands, hug, be close in proximity. And you're actually at max capacity right now. You have had a big, busy day that's super social, and you actually don't have that desire. Well, I might feel rejected by your desire for space. And so again, my perception is of a threat there is that the threat is being rejected or abandoned or not loved or liked or cared enough. So I may lean in further to get you to come closer, and you will then feel even farther away from your desire to be close. You're going to feel even more desire to be separate. And we're going to go through this dance of me reaching in and you leaning out. And both are going to activate the exact desire that we have of either being closer or being separate. And it's a bit of that, again, perception of a threat. I never get my space, you're smothering, and I'm saying, wait a second, where are you going? Please don't leave me. So closeness and separateness come up a lot. Another big one would be power and control, right? Power dynamics are very common in a relationship, and there can be a fear or a perception of a threat being you have more power than me right now. So I'm actually going to fight harder to have more power than you in this. Or I will put myself under you as a way to have power over you. Or I actually have a fear of power. And so I'm going to make myself small and less than, right? Because I don't feel comfortable having the power. I'm good if you have it. And Terry Real phrases this really well. He says, you cannot love somebody from above or below them. So anytime you're trying to get above them, be better than, be smarter than, be right, you are automatically putting somebody below you. And that is a position where you really aren't loving each other. It's not a position of love. So if we want to position ourselves in the frame of love, we need to return to same as. We need to come back to you're a human, I'm a human. We both make mistakes. Neither of us are perfect and never will be, but I hold myself in high regard anyway. And I hold you in high regard as well. That's healthy self-esteem. So, power and control. Closeness and care, we kind of already touched on. Another one would just be respect and recognition. A lot of fights come from a lack of recognition or a lack of respect. And so in the conversation we're having, right, if you don't respect me, that could be a deeper seated fear of mine of not being liked, not being good enough, not being worthy enough. And so again, my perception of a threat is that I need to now lean in to get your respect. I need to fight for your respect. That might actually be just a simple request. Or it could be, you don't respect me. You don't ever acknowledge me. I don't know why I'm not enough for you. I can lean into, bigger conversations. And then recognition. This is why I always talk about having an attitude of gratitude. Without it, you're letting moments of gratitude pass by and you're allowing more awareness of the things that aren't going right into the equation. So I believe the Gottmans phrase it as 11-1. I believe this was my second episode. 11-1 is the ratio of good things to bad things. So if you can have 11 points of gratitude in a day and 1 position of conflict, that generally works out to be an incredible equation long-term for your relationship's success. So again, it doesn't need to be those numbers, but that is a good tell sign that the more gratitude I can acknowledge and the more things that I can recognize, the better. The more they'll feel appreciated, the more that they will feel acknowledged, the more that they will feel included in your life, and the less likely you are to actually notice the things that bother you because you have positioned yourself with what is called a cognitive bias, meaning my bias is that you actually do a lot of things really well. If I believe that to be true, then I'm going to start to look out for all of the things that you're doing really well because that's my belief about you. The same goes the other way. If I believe you're a slob, then I'm going to start to notice the things that are slobbish and I'm going to point them out because look, I told you, you're a slob. Look at the things you're doing, right? Even if it's just one thing out of the 50 things I've done today, your cognitive bias is that of me, that I'm a slob, and therefore I won't be able to escape that until you start to shift the way you think about me, the way in which you view me. So that's another big example of what causes a fight is our cognitive bias or our cognitive belief about who the other person is. right? Who we believe their character to be. In a huge way, bigger than a slob is I see you as somebody who isn't trustworthy, right? Let's say you've cheated, or let's say you just haven't created a safe space in this environment for a relationship. So I don't trust you, right? That's my belief. You are not trustworthy. And so what will happen is I will then be very keen on noticing the moments that don't feel safe, that don't feel trusting. I won't believe every word you say. Maybe you are true, maybe you're not. But my belief about you is that I can't trust you, that you're not trustworthy. That's your character. So my cognitive bias is getting in the way of me being able to trust you. Right? So that would be another cause of an argument. I've created this belief about you, and now this is how I see you. These are the things that I notice because this is how I see you. Right? It's a very powerful position to be in our own minds. Right? Cognitive bias is no joke. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. It's scary how powerful our minds are because we can convince ourselves of anything. There's no limit to what we can convince ourselves of. So instead of fearing that power, how do we actually utilize it in a productive way would be the question I would have for that. Another influence would be, what is your belief about relationships? What do you believe about them based on either your history with them or what you witnessed growing up, right? So a belief could be that relationships, they just don't work. And so every relationship you get into ends up failing. Why? Because your belief about the relationship underneath is that it's not going to work anyway. So you may give it your all and you may not, but at the end of the day, you know it won't end the way you want it to. So, okay. You'll be likely less invested. Or maybe you believe that relationships are just ridiculously hard. So you may find yourself now in a ridiculously hard relationship because your cognitive bias is that. That's your belief about it, right? So in these last examples, I think they're some of the louder ones. This is what's going to allow us to start fighting better. Not to never fight at all, but it's going to allow us to start fighting better because we know what result we want and we know and are aware of our beliefs about either this person or the relationship, and we don't really want to think that way. Right? A lot of these beliefs are molded unconsciously, and so now what we're doing is saying, I want to take back control of my life and my relationship. So what do I need to shift? This is creating this result for me. I don't like that result. Therefore, I would like to do something more productive towards my new desired result. Again, productive versus unproductive. So if we're going to get better at this, then what we need to do is start to put some things into practice. So the first example, I'm going to give you 5. Number 1 would be shifting from complaint to request. A lot of arguments from our perceptions of threats or from our beliefs about relationships or about that person have an approach of a complaint. And so what that complaining does is it actually just, in many ways, it just attacks that person's character or their behaviors. And it is never a request for change. Complaints are never a request for change. Complaining is simply an emotional expression. I'm just expressing myself. Whether it is productive or unproductive, it doesn't really matter. I'm just expressing myself. But if I want change to happen, then I need to make a specific request, right? I need to get away from complaining and make a specific request. So that could look like, hey, I noticed today that the laundry wasn't done. I understand that you may have been busy today. It's really helpful for me to know that that's going to get done. Is it possible for you to take care of that today? Or is it possible for you to take care of that tomorrow? Yes, cool, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Right? You requested something for change. You've gotten in return, yes, I agree. Great. Way more productive than it is, I can't believe you didn't do the laundry again. Why don't you ever listen to anything that I say? Right? Very different conversation we're having. It's not necessarily less conflict, but it's a different style of conflict that's more productive towards the result we want. Number 2. Speaking with love and savvy. This one might be a little bit harder, but I just want you to consider some of these phrases. Hey, are you open to a discussion right now? This is something on my mind. Second one would be, hey, listen, I know we're arguing right now. I just want to come back to being a team. And I feel like I'm battling you right now. I don't want to fight you. I'd rather fight towards solving the problem together. Can we be on the same team again? It's a big one. A third one, the story I'm telling myself about blank is this, right? Hey, when you didn't unload the dishwasher today, the story I told myself is that you don't really care about the things that I ask of you. Is that true? Hey, no, not at all, actually. I appreciate you sharing that. That's not my intention. I understand that was the impact, but I was actually really caught up in my day. I promise I'll do better tomorrow, or I'll do better tomorrow. Sounds like a child. I promise I'll get on it right now. I'll do it right now. Right? Again, stepping into the adult, but the story is ownership. I don't know why you did or didn't do what you did. And me assuming that I know says I have a belief about you, and here is what it looks like, right? Oh my God, you didn't do the dishwasher again? This is ridiculous. How many times do I have to ask you? Could be stemmed from a belief or a cognitive bias that you're unreliable, right? And that could be from proof, could be from historical data points. Doesn't really matter. My belief is this about you. And so when you do this, I think about you as lazy and unproductive, that I can't trust you to take care of things. So now I'm going to start to look out for that. And I'm going to start to be on alert for that because this is the history that I have in front of me. So instead of leaning into that, the way I can start to change my belief is by changing my story, by saying the story I am telling myself, not the story you told me, because I don't know your story yet. The last one with speaking with love and savvy is, I love this one. It's tell me more. For a lot of men out there, this is a crucial one. And I'll tell you why. Because when you step into fix, when you step into solve, or when you don't step into solve or fix and you step out completely, we're taking away an emotional share zone. We're basically saying what you have to say doesn't really matter. It's not important enough. I'd rather just either move on or move away. And so when I ask my partner, say, hey, yeah, wow, tell me more, right? It opens up space for that share zone, creates more space for them. And historically, women are or weren't allowed space. So it's really helpful for the healing process to allow and create some space around that. But it's also just simply a human thing, right? All of us like to take up space, but we're maybe scared of it, or maybe we were told we weren't allowed it, right? For a man that I just was speaking to, and for myself, speaking to myself, I wasn't given space to share emotionally either, right? So I may actually project that onto my partner. Hey, I wasn't given space. Why should you get space? Hey, I just solved my emotions. Why don't you just solve your emotions, right? And so when I invite my partner to tell me more, it doesn't mean it's giving me more things to fix. It just means that I'm giving my partner a space to experience herself through me. That's it, right? I'm just giving space. And that in and of itself is often what we need. So speaking with love and savvy by tell me more is a huge one. Let's move forward. Number 3, responding with generosity. It's an interesting one, right? Responding with generosity. Hey, thank you for telling me that. Hey, I appreciate your honesty. That actually means a lot to me, right? It requires us to actually listen. In order to listen, we need to be present. We need to be involved in the conversation, which means we need to step outside of our own story, understand it's not my turn to share. It's actually my turn to listen. And in that, it gives me a chance to respond to my partner with some generosity and some gratitude. Number 4, empowering each other, right? I want us to win together. How can I help you support me? That's a big one. Think about that, right? When I make a request of my partner, how powerful is it to just lean in, be like, hey, I'm part of this process too. How can I help you help me? Right? We're a team. Man, that's a powerful one. What does the relationship need? Not what do I or you need? What do we need? Right? Coming back to the we of the conversation. What can we do about this as a team? Right? Empowering each other instead of constantly disempowering. Now notice again, this might sound like it's preventing conflict altogether. This is not about getting rid of conflict. This is about creating more productive conflict. Hey, we're at a point of tension right now. God, how helpful would it be for me to say, I really want us to win together? The conflict isn't gone. There's still something to navigate together, but we're navigating it in a way more productive way. Productive meaning producing the result we desire, which is to work towards common solutions together to help us not only in the moment, but to help our future. The last one, number 5, to cherish each other. Number 5, cherish each other. Elevating the frequency of appreciation, right? It doesn't require skill to have something. It requires great skill to cherish something. And so what would it look like for us to start cherishing our partner? It's a big word, a lot of emotion, a lot of depth, right? A lot of care. And so how does this help us fight better? Well, because I know that I'm looking at this person that I'm currently yelling at and reminding myself, wow, hold on a second. Like this is my partner. This is my person. This is an incredible person in this world I chose. So if I cherish this person, would I speak to somebody like that I cherish? No, right? I wouldn't speak to them that way. I wouldn't withhold my truth because this person is so amazing that I would love nothing more than to build a future with them. And that future needs to be built on the back of honesty and authenticity so we can both feel free inside of this relationship. But I'm kind of losing myself right now. I'm not present and I am perceiving a threat. So can I get closer to the truth of that instead of whatever I'm blubbering about? Right? Again, not right, wrong, good, or bad. We're just producing a result we don't want. So we need to shift the behavior to a more productive approach. So those are 5 ways that we can start to fight better. Again, there's a lot of different approaches and a lot of them are very cognitive. There are a lot of thinking. There are a lot of mindset. There are a lot of adjusting the stories that we tell ourselves. And what I want to leave you with is the reality that you can do a lot of thinking and a lot of wordplay and a lot of linguistic change, but a lot of it does need to be felt in the body in a different way. And so when you go through these processes, I just want to encourage you to pay attention to what happens in your body because that's where the real change starts to occur, right? If I believe that my partner is inherently a unreliable person, right? I have felt that experience in my body. So when I ask myself to think differently, I'm asking myself to feel differently. So right now I'm not feeling super good about it, right? And I'm probably used to that feeling now because it's been a while. So now what I'm trying to do is say, I really want to feel above that experience. I want to feel better. I want to feel closer. I want to feel more loving. So I'm asking my body to feel something different that maybe I'm not used to feeling all of the time. And that can be difficult. And that may really push my emotional capacity. So I may actually end up fighting a little bit more until I get through that. I may end up arguing or creating conflict through that, right? But I'm aware that I'm changing my beliefs. So it allows me to be more conscious of my choices, but it's a physiological experience. It's a bodily experience that really creates the change. I start to feel differently, and that can be a result of telling myself a different story. It can be a result of thinking different thoughts. It can be a result of changing the language that I use. But what I can also do is take myself into a timeout in the moments of conflict and control my breathing. I don't need to change my story. I can just change my body, right? This is why when you're feeling really anxious and you go for a walk, you feel better. You didn't change your thoughts, you changed your body, right? So your body matters just as much, if not more. So when you go through these changes and you try to apply some of these processes, remember that your body matters and is heavily involved. And so breathing through the difficulty, right? I know one thing that has really helped me is in the midst of conflict, when I'm faced with it, when she's right in front of me, I actually take a deep breath. And what I'm doing in that moment is trying to hold more, trying to build my capacity for conflict and discomfort, the discomfort that comes from conflict, so that I can stay, so that I can be here with my partner, so I can withstand the fire and the heat that is currently alive between us without running from it, without feeling burned alive, right? I want to sustain this conversation, and that begins by grounding myself, feeling my feet back on the floor, maybe leaning against the counter, reminding myself I'm not in some far off land in the past or some far off land in the future. I'm right here, and I get to see and witness more when I do that. And that's by changing my body. So these are examples of how to fight better. This will come up a lot in the podcast because it's such a crucial aspect of relationships, right? A lot of us struggle because of the way we fight, and a lot of relationships end because they can't fight better and because they can't repair better. So we'll get to the repair process in another episode, but these are just, again, some tools, some strategies to take on. And a lot of it is work that is, I would say, required, because it will create more space for honesty and authenticity, which ultimately is the greatest investment you can have, because your relationship is a long-term investment, right? It can feel urgent to solve everything right this second, but you're not just committed to right this second, you're committed to longer term. Right? A lot of the times we get into relationships not to be in it for a month, we get into it to be in it for a year and 2 years and 10 years with kids and marriage and old age, right? We do so that we have a person in our life consistently that we value and love and cherish. And so if that's the investment that I'm making, then really what we're facing right now is actually quite small in the grand scheme of things. So can I see it as a smaller thing, which allows me to feel less heated about it? And now I can actually conversate about it. Not because conflict's void. I don't feel less conflict. I just feel less risen and explosive because of it. That's the end of the episode for today. Again, I hope that was valuable for you. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed making it. And I'm enjoying this podcast. We, as recording of this today, we just passed 61 episodes downloaded, which is amazing. Y'all are the best. Thank you. We've only been here for a week, but expect an episode every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Again, keeping it clear, concise, to the point. Working on getting some great guests on here. But for now, thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. Please make sure to share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. I really want to get your feedback so I can continue to evolve and grow not only the podcast, but also myself, right? Any opportunity I can get to be better, I would love the opportunity from you. So if you're on Spotify, comment. If not, DM me at the relationship coach _ on all platforms. If you're looking for coaching, I'm your guy. I'm here for you. I got you. Whatever you need when it comes to relationship support, whether it's building a bigger nervous system capacity to hold more emotion, to connect with your emotion, whether it's to handle conflict better, whether it's to communicate better, whether it's to figure out how to be close and separate, or even if it's just to figure out decisions like what do we eat and where are we going today and what's the plan. Anything that involves improving the overall connection, alignment, health, and happiness of your relationship, I can help. So please reach out to me, atlasmecca@gmail.com, or just go to any of my socials and I will see you over there. Thanks again for listening. You're the best. I appreciate you. Share this with people that you love. I love you. Enjoy the rest of your day.